Okay, well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whenever you're watching this. This is Mr. Demagal, and this is the Unit 3 test review recording. I'm not going to be able to have class tomorrow, which is Monday, October 16th. I have another medical procedure. It's a medical issue that's pretty serious that came up, so I just need to go back, and I don't really have the option of choosing the times when I kind of want to go. So unfortunately, I had one, Wednesday, and now I have one Monday. That should be it for some time, however. So you should not see me missing too many more unless I have another big procedure, but we'll see. Um, the today's October 16th, you can see today in history, but I kind of want to get right to the recording, the review, because this recording, when I send you these out to you, they can only be 15 minutes long. So that's if I'm rushing, I apologize. Pause the recording if you need to. This week there is the test on Tuesday. That's when it's due. I think it'll be open up sometime Monday, or it could be open up on Tuesday, but the test will be on Tuesday. We will not have a class connect today because the recording's coming through. The test will have 19 multiple choice questions on it, 2 points each. You could take this test just the one time. So uh, I don't want to see you guys rushing through this. I don't want to see bad scores and then I look and you took it for 3 minutes. That's not good. So take your time on this test. And then there'll be two questions that are multiple selects, so you may have more. There'll be more than one correct answer. The first question it's a review question from Unit 1. We do this because you will be seeing these at the end of the year on the post test, the final. So the Unit 1 review question is, which of the following is not an example of how branches of the government check and balance each other today? And this answer is the judicial branch does not override vetoes made by the executive branch. Actually, the executive branch can be overridden only by the Congress or the legislative branch. So, okay, what is imperialism? Well, if we were in live class, I would ask you guys to type something on the board and hopefully get some good answers. Anything like this is a good definition of imperialism. The domination by one country of the political, economic, and or cultural life of another country of region. You could say it's the domination of one country by another for their resources and for other reasons. You know, if however it helps you remember it, it's essentially one country is dominating another country for stuff, whether it's for their own personal social reasons, or it could just be because they want money and markets. Three causes of imperialism. This goes back to what we just said in the previous question. There are economic reasons to imperialize. It could be you want new markets, you want new raw materials, you want cheap labor because people that live in those countries will work for less wages. Political moves could be to gain power, to expand your territory, to look better to the world. Look how big our empire is. That's that national pride. You may want to exercise your military. And then social and religious reasons, those are the ones that sometimes are often racial and racist in approach, the belief that their race was superior, their country was superior, or that other cultures were primitive, when in fact many of the cultures were not primitive in any way. They just weren't European. They didn't have the kind of weapons. Or to spread Christianity. So there are some actual people who do go to these places without an agenda that has anything to do with gaining anything except spreading, Christianity. Okay, why? And if you need to pause this, take a screenshot of this slide, however you need to do this to remember. The next one. Why did industrialized nations start building empires? Pause, see if you can answer. So they do need those fresh markets, new markets for manufacturing and selling goods. So you go to India, you take the raw materials, you bring them back to Britain, you build things with them, then you sell the things you built back in India to the people who live there. You get the idea? You're making money almost twice on the same out of the same area. What the political cartoon, you're going to be asked to look at these like you have on your quizzes. This political cartoon represents political imperialism. On the test, it will all be multiple choice. You don't have to think of this or type this in. Just a reminder. What about this one? It's not political. So is it either economic or social? Well, this is social. The cartoon is basically they're cutting off the hair of this person who's from China. That's the way they wore their hair, and this person who's European is saying this is not the way we wear our hair. Cut your hair, wear your clothes differently. That's it's rude and it's incorrect, and it comes from an area of this belief that your culture is better than somebody else's culture. Give me some 3 reasons that motivated imperialism's political aspects, not economic, not social. So get rid of trade right away. That's not one of them because that's economic when you're trying to increase your trade. So the ones that are in yellow are the correct ones. You want to gain power. You want to exercise your military force. You want to show your military off. And you want to boost your national pride. So you want the flags waving and people in the streets clapping and being very proud of being either French or British or German or later on American. If once America sort of gets involved in imperialism. What important step did the Meiji government take when it modernized and industrialized Japan? Well, it sets up that modern banking system, and that's directly from your reading and mentioned in class. If you didn't know this because you didn't do the reading or you just forgotten it, you can also eliminate the ones that you know. Well, modern Japan's not going to have samurai, so B is wrong. Okay. Agreements with China and Korea. They don't really build trade agreements. The Japanese bully Korea and they fight China. And then selected industrial engineering students for a special program. That's just made up, so don't pick that one, please. What led to Japan's nationalism and emergence as an imperial power? Pause, answer, and reacting to Western countries' interest in dominating Japan. Japan has the belief, as the old saying goes, if you cannot beat them, join them. In other words, we're not going to be industrialized. We'll industrialize and imperial will colonize other areas. Okay. Why was China defeated in the Sino-Japanese War? Well, China had chosen not to modernize and industrialize, at least at first, and they eventually will, but it's going to come a little late. Which belief did the Chinese government promote in the late 19th century? Pause the screen so you can read the choices. So the Chinese contributed remarkable achievements, inventions, and innovations to the world over thousands of years. The idea that they have no reason to imitate foreigners was the original idea that the Chinese government had when they were confronted by foreign powers. What was the British viewpoint about their government in the late 1800s? Well, the British thought they had a superior civilization, and they had given the world laws, industry, values, and religion for centuries. Ironically, the British as an empire, even in Europe, were kind of ignored for quite a while until 1500s. So this idea of Britain feeling themselves, it's kind of new. It's not the way it used to be. Diplomacy during this period was conducted in French, not English, because French was seen as more of a civilized nation in a central area of European society, not Britain. That changes, but not at the time. Why did Great Britain and China go to war in the mid-19th century? And this is the sad one, is that they refused to stop selling opium in China. No real way around this. The British were in the wrong. They were selling illegal drugs in a country that wished that they not sell their illegal drugs. And I say illegal because the Chinese outlawed it and said, stop selling it here. And the British said, no. And they went to war. Despite their differing approaches to modernization and imperialism, what common understanding did China and Japan reach? They came to the realization that they both believed the Western imperialism would bring bad effects. That's that word, detrimental, to their economies, governments, and people. And they're right about that. Nobody really likes to be colonized. We find out later that there are some good things that come with colonization. Some technology, schools are built, hospitals are built. That's all well and good, but people of those nations probably would have liked to have been left alone as opposed to having a new school or hospital built. Based on the map, which statement is correct about colonial empires in the early 1900s? Take a second to look at the map. And you can see the majority of Africa, oops, my goodness, was colonized by European nations. Of all the areas you see, Africa is almost completely colonized in color. Two areas do not get colonized. Which statement about Western colonization in Africa is true? Pause. Millions of Africans died as a result of Western colonization. That is true in the colonization efforts. Okay, this is one of the multi-select questions. So which three statements are supported by the given perspectives? I'm going to warn you, this is a tough question. You're going to have to stop, look at it, and really think. So pause, really think about it, and then unpause. Okay, I hope you're ready because I'm about to reveal. So the first one is the countries being, and you have the two viewpoints. Colonized nations, we will lose our cultural identity and traditions and not have the power to govern our own country. And the imperialist nations say our new territories will benefit from having superior access to education and healthcare, as well as being protected by the imperial nation's military. So you're asked to read those perspectives and then answer the questions that match with what these two, quote unquote, people in the quotes are saying, or in the statements. Which of the following statements is not true? In this case, it's Africans were invited to the Berlin Conference but declined. No, they were not invited. The Berlin Conference is the conference that European nations basically carved up Africa in divided pieces and gave them away to different European powers so they would not go to war with each other. They didn't care if they went to war with the Europeans, the Africans, but they didn't want to go to war with other European nations. This was a way to avoid conflict. Carve up Africa, give out the pieces where we can agree, and then we'll colonize. It's pretty bad. Okay, this was a shorter recording. Well, it's still 13 minutes, but the test is not timed. It is, again, going to be taken one time, multiple choice, except for the two that have multiple choice responses. So like this one where you have the three. You'll have to choose all three of those in those multiple select ones. All right, good luck on the test. If anything comes up, please let me know. The procedure that I'm going in for, it's a morning procedure, but I hope I'll be home by noon, 1. I'm taking off tomorrow, but I will be around. So just email, call, whatever. And I will be here. We'll have class on Tuesday too, so I'll see you then. All right, thanks guys. Take care.